Hey everybody, it's Jesse. Welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. Um, if you're watching this recording later because you were expecting the stream to be later on at my normal time, 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm very sorry. I intended to stream at 2 p.m. and I tweeted that I would be streaming at 2 p.m. And then about 5 minutes ago, I realized that I had set the stream to go live at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm not even sure how many people are going to be watching this live because it's so much earlier than normal, and I told everybody the wrong time. So apologies again, but I thought I could have either canceled that stream or postponed it, or I could have just put out on Twitter that, hey, I'm going to stream right now. So I chose the latter because there are already about 4 or 5 people waiting for the stream when I found out. So I didn't want to leave them hanging. So, I mean, everybody, I guess, would have initially got the notification from YouTube for the right time. So maybe that'll help. It looks like I do have some people in here. So awesome. Hey. It's actually not bad when I do it at a different time. Sometimes there are people who just can't watch the stream at my normal time, so now maybe we'll have some new faces who watch the recordings but don't get to participate live. Okay, so I wasn't planning on working on this yet. I was going to work on some other stuff, but we're going to work more on this. As you can see, I've done pretty much nothing. This still looks kind of broken. Like we left it on Friday. So didn't work on pretty much anything yesterday. Wasn't feeling well, just stayed home. Well, I should say that I worked on my Udacity project, so I finally got that to the point where I was confident to turn it in. So I don't have it ready to show you today. So sometime this week maybe I'll show you all. I don't have it up and running anywhere, but I can just have it running locally and just show it to everybody. Let's see. What else did I want to say? Oh, okay. So I don't know. I'm sure you all saw that. I'm sure a lot of you saw that we got. So we, as in freeCodeCamp's YouTube channel, got a silver play button from YouTube. Which is really cool. So Quincy made a video and posted it last night. And so check that out. If you don't know what that is, when a YouTube channel gets to 100,000 subscribers, they get this silver play button, framed, and it's really cool. So we're actually over 200,000 subscribers now, but it's still really cool that we got that. So I'm excited, and also Quincy thanked all the YouTube people, and so my name was in there too, and that was really cool. I'm still very appreciative that for this opportunity to contribute to freeCodeCamp. So anyway, and I'm glad that I could help in some way in reaching the subscriber count that we have now. Okay, let me get started. Yeah, so we got a decent amount of viewers right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Someone said hello. What's up? I think somebody wants me to say their name on YouTube. So Abdul Wahab. I think that's it. Abdul Wahab. Sorry, you all know I try really hard to pronounce names correctly. So if I don't pronounce your name correctly, let me know. Alright, so I have a lot of people saying congratulations in the live chat. Thank you so much. I mean, really, it's you all that did that, right? I mean, you're the ones that subscribe. Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know, to think that... Anyway, I'm going to get to coding, but I'm just really... it's just really cool. Let's see. Alright, so let me at least tell you what I've done. I've done a lot of prep work to get ready to do this. So I was just really having trouble with this design in terms of just not, there's a lot of content on the page. So it's really difficult because my design style is usually like very minimal. So I was having a lot of trouble figuring out like where everything was going to go, how I could keep a lot of the content and not have it be cluttered. So usually when I'm at the beginning stages of design and I get stuck, I just look for inspiration. So I looked at a lot of material design sites, a lot of the Google sites, and I got some really good ideas to incorporate. At least I think they're pretty good. At least the way they were executed on the sites that I saw. So I think it's going to work out. I have a much more clear plan now. So let's get to it. Okay. Let's build out the frame for all the sections first, right? So I know about how many sections there are going to be, so I think it would be better visually to just have all those sections with some headers in there, and then we can start putting things in. And that'll maybe help a little bit to get what's in my head conveyed to you all as quickly as possible. That's always tough. I usually have a vision in my head of what it's going to look like, but trying to convey that to other people is not always easy. My drawing skills are not great, so I try to sketch it out, but it never looks the same. Okay, so let's see. We just need some. We need some sections, and actually, we're gonna take out a lot of this, right? So, I'm done with the carousel idea, or even the accordion. So I have a different idea for this section, and then for our news and event section. So at first, for this section, we're just going to have a few cards across, and if we need to, if we really want to have more than a few cards, we could potentially just have a large scroller, all right, so that it'll just shift across. So we'll probably build that. I don't know. I'm thinking that we'll just build that from scratch. Maybe we'll use what's with Materialize. We'll see. I'm undecided as to what'll be the faster way to do it. Let me start my timer before I forget. So, if you are new, you haven't seen this before, I do 25-minute sessions of code, and then in between I do 5-minute sessions of question and answer. And then at the end, I finish out and I'll answer any of the questions that are in the live chat. So I always do at least 2 Pomodoro sessions of 25 minutes. I'm definitely going to do 2 today, and then we'll see how things go. Alright, so let's just get some basics. I want to see what name I gave this class. So, okay, so this is all in a container right now. I don't want to make everything in a container. I think what we'll end up doing is having sections, and those sections that we want to be contained, so have this space on the sides here, we'll then put the container inside the section. But I would like to have, as we're doing here, full width sections. So, so like this. So right now, I guess it's okay if I do these in rows. Normally I do them in sections. So Whoop, let me start. Section. There we go. Row. Oops. Can I do that? No. Alright, so if you're confused as to what I was just doing right there, Visual Studio Code comes with Emmet. Emmet is a shorthand, oops, a way to kind of do shorthand and then have it automatically turn into HTML. So I'm learning how to do it. So far it's a really cool feature. You can see how easy that was. And for right now, I'm just going to put in a text that just says column, just so that there's something we can see with this structure. Not every section is going to have the same structure, but it's going to be, you know, this will be kind of a nice base structure that we could work off of, is a section with 2 columns. We're going to have, yeah, so some of the sections we will want that container in as well. But I'm not going to put that in there right now. We'll also want, let's see, let's put a header in here as well. H2, let's call this section. There we go. Alright, so this will give us an idea. Right now I'm thinking, let's see, we'll probably have another, so that's 1. I'm going to start with section, but maybe like 5 more sections, and then see how that looks. Okay. Great. Here's the section. For now, I think I'm going to take out this banner, or at least comment out the banner. Let's just comment it out for now. Okay. And let's take out, I do want to put a different image in here. I just keep forgetting. Let's take out these, or at least change it up. I'm going to go back to what we had originally, which was just a card like this, just 3 of them. I wonder, I think I'm going to try to put in the actual text that are in some of these now on the main site, the live version of this site, and see how it looks. If we can get away with making the cards a little bit smaller, we might be able to go with 4 across on a large screen. So I think that would work out. So this is what we want. And let's see. Alright, so let's go inside this row. Put 2 more of these in. Oh man, what was the, there was a hotkey. There was a hotkey for formatting things automatically. What was it? I don't remember what it was. I'll have to look back at the last video whenever I learned what the hotkey was and then fix that formatting, because right now that's terrible. Alright, let's just make sure we did that right. Okay, great. Let's grab some of the actual text. I've learned in a classroom. What it means to sort of. Oh man, are these? Is this text or is this? I think that's part of the image. Is it? Let's see. I'm gonna inspect that to see if that's all just an image or not. We have 5. Okay. Okay, so that's actual text. Oh wow. All right. Okay, so each line is actually in its own div. Interesting. Okay, so I guess I'll just type this out. It seems like that'll be the easiest thing to do. So I'm gonna move this over to my other screen so that I can type it easily. Alright, I got some answers for the auto formatting, but I have different answers. Control KD. Alright, let's try this. Whoa. Okay, the Control KD did not work. That did not work. Let's try this other one. Okay, so far not working. Thanks for the advice though. Let's see. I'll figure it out. I can always go back and check the last stream. Okay. I don't know if you all noticed in the last stream, but several of my coworkers were peeking in the door and doing silly things. So I didn't realize how many of them were doing it until they told me after the stream, and then I went through and saw it. So I guess that'll be some nice Easter eggs to look for now. Okay. So I'm not sure if we even want to have the card title. There's not really anything now on the card that I think would be good for the title. I mean, unless, let's try this. Let's try to put the student's name where the title is, and then include their quote, and then just have a read more link. We'll see how that looks. Alright, so I have Shannon, and I want to put this in quotation marks so it's clear that it's a quote. It's just automatically type server instead of serve. Okay, that looks good. And then let's say read more. See how that looks. Okay, yeah, that's a really small amount of text. Let's try to get away with doing 4 cards then. And so I could see a few benefits to doing 4 cards. I think 5 would be pushing it, but 4 cards would allow us to use much smaller images, as long as we keep it consistent. And potentially even on a small screen we could drop down to 2 columns so that we would never have anything like as big as that, right? And then we'd be able to display more, right away without having to click, one way or another. And I'm open. I mean, I think I'm going to suggest that we don't have 5 stories like we have now. I think we should just have 3 or 4 stories, and then if we want to change them out more frequently, that's totally fine. But I don't know, when it comes to like carousels like this, the statistics, at least that I've read, show that barely anybody ever gets to the fifth one. The percentage drops significantly after the first and after the second one. So most users don't even get to this point. So I think it would be better to just have a few visible immediately, and the user's much more likely to actually look at that and read that. I definitely want to set it up so that these are always the same height. So probably won't work on that today. I know we've done things like that in previous projects, so I may not do it on the stream. We'll see where we get with it. Okay, so let me add one more card. Let's see, there it is. So we're gonna add one more card here. Wow. And then let me change these. So what we want is this to be 3, and then medium can be dropped to 4. That's gonna look weird. I think we don't want that. Let's go with medium 3, small 6. Okay, so on small screens, each column is going to take up 6. So there are 12 columns. So 6 of those are going to be taken up by the first column. Second column will have 6, and then over here, each one's going to take up 3. So we'll show you what that looks like. Okay. So you can see as we get smaller, at some point, it goes to 2. Okay, and that's not bad. I mean, I don't like how long these cards are, but I'm okay with this. This isn't really, this isn't too bad. And for right now, I'm sticking with the column classes that are built into Materialize. But if we really want to have more control over things, we could always, set our own breakpoints. Do some different things with that. Occasionally, I've had to do that. Okay, so I'm going to leave this like this for now. It gives a general idea of what this could look like, and it's something that I could show my boss or show other people to just get them thinking. So normally the process goes, I consult with my boss or whoever has the information for the project. Just kind of talk about some things. Sometimes I'll sketch things out, get some immediate feedback. Then I go to work and actually build something out. Just usually with a lot of content like this, right? Obviously this is not ready to go live, but it gives a better visual, something you can actually interact with. Then I'd go back to my boss or whoever and get some more feedback, and it will change. So what we're doing now is probably not going to be the final version of this, but we just want to kind of get our ideas out, actually kind of build out, not completely, but just kind of roughly. All right, so for the news section, which will be our next section, I think I may have some sections that are banners in between just to break up all the white, but I'm not going to do that right now. We'll get everything on here, see how it looks, and then see if we need that. I also have another, let's see, I'm going to do it now. I have another idea that I might put into place. I've noticed on some of Google's sites that they don't have the cards automatically visible. They're only visible when you hover over them. Let me show you an example, and I want to see what you all think about that. It's a little bit different for me. I'm not really used to it, but I'm not opposed to it. It's interesting. So here we go. Let me bring this over. Okay, so check this out. So this is the design.google. Okay, so you hover over this, and now it becomes a card, and the entire thing is clickable. Down here, it's the same. Is it the same thing? I thought it was for this. I guess not. Here it is. Okay, so for these ones, it's the same thing. It's clickable. Now here's the advantage of this. I think this is really cool. So notice that these are not the same heights, but it's not obvious that they're not the same height right away. But if you hover over them, you could definitely tell. But since they're never both visible at the same time, you don't immediately get that idea that, like, whoa, these are really off, right? So I love that because one of the big issues always when I'm doing things with cards is, getting them all to be the same height. And sometimes I don't have control over the content. I advise that we try to have uniform content and try to have as little text content as possible, but I don't always have control over that. So for instance here, if one of these were large, this card, I could get the card to be the same height, but there'd still be lots of white space inside. It doesn't seem like, it's not obviously so different when the white space is inside, but it's still a little bit weird sometimes. So I'm thinking about going with something like this. I don't think this is built in to materialize, so it's something we'd have to do on our own. Don't think it would be that difficult though. So anyway, let me know what you think. So I'm not going to look at the live chat right now, but when the timer goes off and we do our first 5 minutes, the first part of that, the first thing I'm going to look at is that, and I'm going to see what you all think. So for now, I'm just going to do the cards like normal, but we may be switching to that. That's definitely going to be a different, it's going to be different than anything else we've done. So I'm okay with doing it because I think there are a lot of benefits. I think it gives us a lot more freedom doing it like this. So we'll see. But for the news feed, I liked how it was done here. So not every piece of news has to have an image, right? We have here, and we may not do it exactly like this, we have one main piece of news that does have an image. And then the rest of them, we just have the titles and just a little snippet. So I like that. We have the more news up here, so I think we're going to go with something like this. The news right now on the site, we do have images, but we don't. These images aren't always, I think, the best, right? So certainly some stories will have images that could be used, but I don't think every story necessarily needs an image with it, right? I mean, if we're going to use an image, it should add to the understanding of what's happening. All right, it should draw your eye. Like as of right now, I can't even read this stuff down here. It's hard to read this, and I'm pretty close to my screen right now. So now, right, if we had maybe a really well-known person like Father Scanlon, really well known at this university, so a picture of Father Scanlon would definitely be appropriate to have for a news story. But logos, I don't know. So I like the idea that in this setup we could have something with an image and things without an image, and it looks fine. Earlier, the way I was going to do it, I don't know that it would look good. We would be forced to always have an image and an image with certain dimensions for every story. So let me check my time before I try to implement this. Okay, we got about 3.5 minutes. So let's try to do as much as we can here. It looks like basically we'll have, I mean, we're definitely gonna have 2 columns. Let's see, we're gonna want these columns to be inside a container. Okay, so we're already set up for 2 columns. We just need to add the container first, and then let's make, I keep thinking in terms of React component. I almost said we're going to make a component for this, but we can't because we're not using React. So we're just going to write the markup for this, for something like this. I'm not going to try to match this exactly. I actually really don't like doing that. I feel weird copying someone's design exactly. I don't mind taking some inspiration from it, the general concept of having stories with and without images, but I don't want to try to copy fonts, spacing, everything. So we're going to try to adapt it and kind of make it our own. Let's see. So we have, what section I in? All right, so this I think is the section that we want. You start getting names on these sections, it'll be a lot easier. And we could potentially break these out into components if we need to. I think I mentioned that before. If this component starts getting huge, then probably be better for your organization to break it out. All right, so let me say news, and we got to put this in a container, right? So what we can do then is probably the easiest way to do this, I think, is to make the container, just add the class container onto the section. In previous projects, I've added a container inside the section, but I think maybe I had a good reason for that and I forget, but I think it's unnecessary to have an extra div just to add this extra class. So we're going to try it like this. I think it should be fine. Just to test it, let's make sure this should, there we go. So now this does have margins on the side. And let's I think I want to quit having to load that image every single time, so I'm gonna comment it out for now, the big hero image. I feel bad like continuously hitting the Unsplash, was it unsplash.it servers or so. My timer's up now anyway. Let me find that CSS file, and let's see, where am I at? Hero. Let's take that out. Ooh. Okay. All right. So let me go to the live chat now, and then we'll fill this in. Where's my timer? It's hidden. There we go. All right. So live chat. Okay. Okay, so so Tony says I upvote the Google design cards. Okay, cool. So we got 1 vote for the. I'm assuming you mean like this how they do it here. John says same height in cards is easy with flex CSS attribute stretch, or in grid it's even easier now. I know grid. I will. Yeah, I know there are some ways that I have used that make the cards, getting the same height in the cards a lot easier. Let's see. All right, so that seems like it was. It looks like that's all for the opinions about the card design. So I'm going to scroll up and try to see if there are any questions. Harshit says, congratulations for silver play button. May freeCodeCamp progress it so it reaches more than 1 million subs. That would be cool. Did they give you a gold button at 1 million subs? I'm not sure. I would imagine the next step would be gold button, right? That would be really cool to get 1 million. Okay, Brano asked about the IDE. It's Visual Studio Code, so I don't know if I would call that an IDE, but that's the code editor that I'm using today. Okay, cool. Nodi says it's been a while because the streams are always late, but glad to see it today. So that's awesome. I'm really glad that you get to see the stream now. So like I said, I know there are people that watch the videos that don't get to stream because of the time. So cool. I'm glad you could watch. John O2 asks, it says, "Am I late?" Yeah, I'm actually early, so you're a little bit late, maybe about a half hour. I started at about a half hour ago, but it's my fault. I started way earlier than normal without very much notice to everyone. Okay, so nobody asks if I write unit tests when coding. Unfortunately, I don't write tests when coding. So I did have on the last project, Kevin, who's frequently in the live chat and contributes on GitHub, set up some testing stuff, and I did end up going through and editing a lot of the tests that he set up, and was learning how to do that. That was what did he say? It was end-to-end testing. So I would like to be able to do tests. I just am not really. I don't know enough about it right now. I'd like to find some good training materials on testing. Right now, I have no time to do anything else until my nano degree is finished. So what'll probably happen is I'll finish my nano degree by the end of October. Then I'll probably have to work on my talk for November. Then after that, I'll probably have time to learn something new. In that case, I think testing should be the next thing I learn. We'll see, unless something else comes up. Anyway, so I really do want to do testing. It's just not something that I've learned. All right, we got one question at the end that I just have to read. All right, so it says, which would you rather fight? This is Reuven says, which would you rather fight? 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? What question is that? And this is so weird because I just saw somebody else just asked this question my cousin's husband asked this question, and she posted it on Facebook. So where is this question from? I feel like I'm missing some reference. But anyway, that's a good question. So I'm not going to give my answer yet. If you'd like to answer in the live chat, let me know. And then on the next 5-minute break, I'll read out the answers and I'll give my answer. I would hate to influence you all on such an important matter. So, what would you rather fight? 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? Alright. That sounds like a good question for my kids. I gotta remember to ask them later on. They'll probably... My oldest son, Raphael, will probably just like try to think it out for, for hours. And he'll be trying to come up, well, maybe if you did this. Alright. So, okay, cool. Let's build this now. And go here. Where did it go? There we go. I think I'm going to separate these sections out with some spaces. Just that I can keep it straight. I normally would not put this many spaces between things, but I don't want to have to keep searching for it. Okay. Alright, so in this section we'll have we want to give this an H4 maybe. So let's give it a div. Forgot to do this. I'm gonna force myself to do this so I remember. Title, and actually let me put in some of the actual news that we have. And then let's put this paragraph in here, and then I also want to put in, let's put in an image. Let me grab this source over here. Wow, that's really cool that it automatically puts the source in the alt. Text. And okay, actually the title is the link. So we'll I'm not worried about that right now, but this will end up being a link. Let's see what that looks like. And then I'm just going to copy this now and paste it here. And then let's remove this. Oops, I'm sorry. I meant to remove the image. and then we'll copy it a few times. Alright, let's see what that gives us. Okay, not too bad at first. So what we'll want to do, I actually really like the idea of putting the date, right? Because right now our stories don't have the date. I mean, that gives us the advantage of, let's say we don't update our stories very often. It's not obvious that they're not updated, but I don't know. I think I'd like to have the date in there. I guess the problem is right now, if we're not pulling the date in, I'm not sure how we would pull the date in, because I have no idea how to. So like this would be the setting this up in Ectron, which is the content management system that this site uses, would be, I don't know what it's called in Ectron, but like in WordPress terms, it would be a custom post type. So I don't know how to make a custom post type in Ectron or to get data from a post type in Ectron. So I'll have to learn a lot more before that can happen. So for now, I'm going to leave off the dates because I know for sure we can grab these pieces of data because I can just look and see how we're doing it now. If I do figure out how to grab the date, great, I'll grab the date. Otherwise, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm definitely not going to worry about it now. We're just trying to, show something on the page. All right, so I want to clean this up a little bit. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but I think there's a few things that we could do. So for now, I think these titles are way too big. So we need to drop those down. We definitely need to get rid of that character. I'm not worried about it right now, but at some point we need to. And then the image. I'm not sure what we can do about. So I mean, ideally we would have an image that took up, the full space here, but without editing this image, I don't see how that's going to happen. So we'll just leave it. Alright, so let's drop these down. What are they, H4s now? Let's try to drop them down. I guess we can see what H5 looks like. Okay. I think that's all of them. Multiple cursors is so useful. Okay. Alright, that's much better. That's the size that I was initially thinking of. Okay, great. So that's good. I would probably... I mean, this is pretty obvious that the title goes with this text, but, maybe we could do something. Add a little bit more space here and tighten this up here. But for now, that gives the general idea. The only other thing we want to have here is, like a read more. I guess we could put it over here. The only other place that would make sense is to have something down here. that said read more. I'm actually not sure that we even have that right now. More universities. Okay, so we do have a more link right now, and it is at the bottom. I don't know why I'm thinking so much about whether to put it at the top or the bottom. I think I'm going to put it at the bottom, honestly, and the only reason why I'm going to put it at the bottom is, as I said, I don't like to copy people's designs exactly, and so we are leaving out some things, but, you know, putting this at the top, if there's something that I can try to not copy, that's kind of not really important. I can put that down here, so... I know it's a small thing, but I'm just gonna put it down here for now. We'll see how it looks. Alright, so let's get this section. Yeah, near the bottom of the section. And let's put in a and for now I don't want it to go anywhere. Okay. So we're gonna have to style this a bit, right? So I want it over on this side. So let's inspect that, and this might actually be pretty simple. Well, somewhat, right? So I do want it on this side on a large screen, but on a small screen it probably won't look right on that side. So for now I'm not going to worry about that. But I would probably want it aligned this way on a small screen below these. So maybe we can just see if that works. No. See, I don't want to do it everywhere. Do this like position absolute. Come on. There we go. Okay, so if you didn't see what I did there, so initially this was all the way over here, because when you use position absolute on an element, it is absolute in relation to the parent element that has a position of relative. So if it's immediate parent element, which in this case was this section, then if the immediate parent element is not position relative, it goes up to the next one. So it went up to probably this div, maybe further up. I mean, obviously, like the entire window could be potentially, you know, it could go up to there if nothing has position relative. So for right now, it shouldn't affect anything on the page that I've made this position relative. But you notice as soon as I made this parent div have a position of relative, this went right back into place, and now it is aligned 0 pixels from the right side of that div. So for now this is okay. Probably would not have it be 0 pixels. It might look better if it was shifted in a little bit, but I'm okay with it for now. But that's kind of a really tricky thing with CSS positioning. So if you're having trouble with absolute positioning, remember relative. It probably took me years before I finally remembered that without having to look it up. Okay, so let me put, I don't know if I want to make every section position relative, so I'm just going to put it inline for this one. React has ruined me in terms of inline styles. I never did it before. Let's see. Wait, what? Why is it giving me a green underline? Oh, don't use empty style. Is that it? Is it supposed to be styles? What is wrong with me? Why don't I remember that? Where are we at? Okay, for this one we actually have a unique class, so we can put that in the CSS. Called it now. More link. Okay. What do we do? Position, absolute, and right 0. Okay, let's try that out. See, I knew it was. What did I do wrong? POS. POSITION. Position. I just can't spell. That's my problem. There we go. Okay, a little longer than it should have taken, but now it works. All right, so cool. So that's my idea for the news section. For the event section, I'm not going to put them in right now because I want to check. There's been like some discussion of doing events differently, so there may be an API that I can tap into to pull in events. So I'd like to get a little bit more information before I put any effort into how I'm going to display events, because I don't know. I think whatever I do is likely to change based on what's decided about how we're handling events. All right, so next section. Well, let me check my time. All right, 7 minutes, cool. For the next section, let me show you some of what my inspiration is for these sections. Where did I put my stuff here? Okay, so the Google developers site, so developers.google.com, also has, material design in use here. But they have, so obviously, these are normal cards. We're going to be using those, but they have these sections here where it's some visual thing, so probably be an image in our case, and then they just have some information and a button. Now, I have done this before on several different sites, so it's not something completely new to me, but I like how So when I've done it before, this has been very large. So like a big image, complete sections, lots of padding. But what's unique in terms of at least what I've seen is how tight this is, right? So this seems as if it's one section, and these are just a part of that one section. I really like that, and I've never done that before. I think this will be good for what we need to do, because if you remember on that main site, we just have so much information in each section. So we kind of need a way to break that up, since we're not going to use these columns. Let's see. For instance, a section like this, I mean, academics could be the main title here. But it's like, what do we do with all this information? So I think we could incorporate some of this and split it up so that it looks something more like this. A lot of space, but still has information, still has the main links. I'm just going to pick some of this out of here to put here, just as an example, just to show my boss what could happen. And then he can start thinking about, okay, what information is the most important in this section? What information can we cut out? What do we have to keep? And then, now that he knows the framework of how it would fit in there, it'll be much easier for him to say, all right, this is what we're going to put in here, right? So it's not really up to me. It's not really what I like to do. So I'm not going to try to do it. I'm just going to worry about design. Honestly, it doesn't even matter what I put in here. Anything, any placeholder will work. So I'm going to use kind of this idea for some of the sections, and it will be interspersed, I think, with sections that'll be, more like just cards with information. So, for instance, something like this could end up being more like, a section with columns. So we could include, if we want some more videos. To be honest with you, I'm not sure about keeping these. I really need to do some click tracking and see how many people watch these, because that's the section that could take up a lot of space. So if it's not useful to the people visiting the site, then we may as well just take it out of there. Yeah, so I think each of these sections would work like that. My other thought, I think I'll just put it in this first design, is that we don't need to have so many sections. So academics and admissions, I think we could place them together. So basically our tagline is academically excellent, passionately Catholic. I think those should be the sections that we have, because those are the things we want to emphasize to our potential students. So the draw of Franciscan University, it's in a niche market, and the niche market is people who are Catholics, who really want, so the teenagers who really want to deepen their knowledge of Catholicism, because this school is known for being really good at teaching that. It graduates the most theology majors out of any school in the country. So that's where we want to emphasize the passionately Catholic. But what we want to also do is emphasize academically excellent, because our reputation in terms of being good at teaching Catholicism is established, right? It's established, and generally it's not usually questioned among our target audience. But what we need to establish is our academic excellence. So I think we should, we're going to do academically excellent first, which makes sense. It comes first in the tagline. So that'll be what people see, and that should hopefully give them some new information that maybe they didn't know. All right, because we want students to be able to feel like I can get a really good education here, so that I can go out and get a job. We never want the dilemma of somebody saying, you know what, I really do want to come here because of the faith part of it, but I don't know that I'll learn a lot there, or maybe they aren't sure if they have, you know, their major, or they're not sure if they'll be able to get a job when they graduate. So we want to reassure people about that. So I'm going to try to split up the site into two main sections. The About section at the bottom, or I'm sorry, it's at the top now. I think we should move the About section to the bottom. So right now, I don't know. I don't see, to be honest with you, there's so much text and it's so small. I'm not sure how much of it actually gets read right now. And it's not the focus here. It seems like it's in between these two things that draw your eye. This, because it's just, you know, it's big, the colors are there. I think it looks kind of odd. So that draws your attention. And then this is a picture, all right, with a call to action button here. So I don't know that this is having any impact right now. I don't think it'll be a problem to move this to the bottom. All right, so that's the idea. So for now, I'm going to fill in the section names, and then I'm going to do, my timer just went up, but before I forget any of this, to keep it all straight, I'm just going to fill in 3 section names right now, and then I'm going to check the time, kind of see how we're doing, and decide whether or not we're going to do a third Pomodoro session. Okay, so here's our news section, and I'm sorry, I know that the formatting right now has got to be just killing some of you. Every time I see that formatting, like, my heart hurts. It's like, it's terrible. So I'm definitely gonna fix that formatting, and I'm gonna look up the whatever the shortcut is to format that before the next stream. Okay, so let's go. Academically excellent. Excellent. And this one will be alright. Let's make sure that looks alright. That's the right stuff. Okay. That's what we want. So we're gonna cut this down. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, it's basically 4. Really 4 main sections. This is gonna be a somewhat narrow section. But so not counting the hero section in this, but 4 main sections. So I'm hoping to reduce the amount of scroll that needs to happen in this site, because right now there's a lot of scrolling going on, and I've gotten, you know, negative feedback for that. I don't think anybody likes how much scrolling has to happen. So I'm going to try to cut that as much as possible, but there's still, I mean, there's still a lot of content. So, you know, we can't completely cut everything out. Alright, I'm gonna set the 5-minute timer, but this may end up being the last session, so I want to just kind of see how many questions there are, and see what time it is. I'm actually getting pretty hungry, so right now I'm leaning towards not doing another session and instead eating. Alright, so The question that I asked you all in the last 5-minute break was from Reuven about whether you'd rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck. So you all gave your answers. Let me read out some of these answers. Hopefully we have some code-related questions as well. But James says 100 duck-sized horses. Q-Master says 1 horse-sized duck sounds like less work if I have a spear or something. 1 good hit and done. That's a good point. Black Bat says my 50 cal sidearm prefers 1 horse-sized duck. That takes care of Thanksgiving supper too. Actually, I didn't even think about that, but that would be quite a bit of duck meat if you had a horse-sized duck. All right. John Hansen says a lot of smaller struggles are always much easier to handle than one big one, so 100 duck-sized horses. Okay. James says 100 duck-sized horses to build up my confidence as I defeat them and give me better ideas to approach and strategize my fight. I might come across an idea that will kill all 100 in a blow. Okay. Alright, so that's it. For me, I think I'd rather go with the giant duck-sized horse. Or I'm sorry, horse-sized duck. That's had it backwards. Because I don't know that I could really fight all those cute, tiny little horses, right? That would be tough, but it would be much easier mentally to fight this like giant monster of a duck, right? Anyway, although I think that it would probably be more dangerous to be around that giant duck. Alright, so now back to some code. Hopefully I didn't upset anybody by, entertaining that question there. It was only, maybe like a minute or two of time we took on that. Okay. Harshit says React 16 is coming out with an MIT license instead of the BSD3 clause. Who's excited? Yeah, so that's really interesting that happened. I know we had a question, I think last week, about someone asked me what I thought about the license and also what I thought about WordPress deciding not to go with React anymore because of the license. So I've already given my thoughts on that. I'm not going to repeat them, but I'm actually somewhat surprised that Facebook decided to change their license. I didn't think that they would. So that's cool. I think that reassures a lot of people. So that's cool. For me, I didn't really care one way or another for the license. I didn't think it would affect my work that much, at least from what I understood about it. But I like it. I like that it happened because if the React community gets bigger, it's only going to benefit. It's going to help all of us, right? There'll be more information out there, more jobs for React developers. So I think it'll be good. It'll be good for the React community in general that the license changed, and any companies that were hesitant over it before, maybe they won't be so hesitant now. Yeah, so it's a good thing. It was surprising, but good. Let's see. Okay, cool. John Hansen said read more at the bottom is generally better. So cool. That's good. A good call that we had this there at the bottom. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, right now we can see it all in one go, but on a smaller screen there'd be some scrolling. So normally if the read more is up here, you see that first. Well, you might not be sure whether or not you want to read more yet. You haven't even seen what's there. So I do agree. As you scroll, you get a little taste of what's there. Then if you're interested, then you can read more. So I don't know. Maybe maybe there is some data to show that you get more clicks on a read more at the top. I don't really know, but just logically for me, I can definitely understand if I was going through a site thinking it'd be more convenient to have the read more button at the bottom, I would probably look for it at the bottom as well. Okay, John Boys says, I think you typed position instead of position instead of position. So thanks for catching that. I didn't look over at the live chat and see that. That would have saved me a little bit of time trying to figure that out. Let's see. John Hansen says, interesting section design. And for that, we're talking about this design. So saying interesting section design, open, no borders, color image grouping, and an easy to see button click. I like it. Cool. Yeah. When I saw it, I was just, I was really kind of impressed with this. The only thing I thought is, man, I'd really love to have a color palette that would work well with this kind of thing. So I'm gonna try it. Usually what we do is stick with, on light backgrounds, one color for all buttons, and then another color on dark backgrounds. Usually we do that inverted button on the dark backgrounds, but occasionally we will do a solid color. So this would definitely be different than what we normally do, but I'm interested in seeing if we took, maybe 3 of the colors that aren't often used from the university color palette and use them like this, what would it look like? I mean, this works especially well because they even match, all these things here. So they have the icon, the title, this. So it works. They're also bright, kind of playful colors, and that's Google's thing. People expect that. So I'm not sure that it would translate well to Franciscan's color palette, but we'll see. I'd like to give it a shot. I'm not really hopeful that it'll work out, but it would be cool to give it a shot. Okay, so Tony says, looks like the formatting shortcut is Shift Option F. All right, thank you. Let's try that out. Let's see, Shift Option. Yes, thank you so much. Oh, I'm so happy now. Look at that. So much nicer. So much nicer. Thank you again. That's awesome. So I know we already went over this on a previous stream, but I didn't remember, so I'll repeat it again. Shift Option F does the auto formatting in Visual Studio Code. Okay. And actually, that's it for the live chat. Yeah, so we might wrap this up. Unless anybody has any questions, you can get in there in the next few seconds. We're going to wrap things up now. I appreciate you all watching, especially at the earlier time with short notice. Sorry again for the confusion on the time. I'll do my best to double check everything, when I schedule the stream. But anyway, it's a good stream. I feel a lot more confident about the design we have now, or at least the plan for the design. It's looking really plain right now, so it's not great, but I think we're gonna get somewhere where it'll be possible to at least show my boss something and get some feedback and then really start to fine-tune things. What's this? Sorry, Umberto says back to pair if it's still going. Umberto, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Anyway, let me know. I know there's a delay, so I might not get an answer before I end the stream. But I'll probably be back tomorrow. I am feeling a little bit better. Yesterday I wasn't feeling well. I'm feeling a little bit better. My throat is still pretty sore. So, I mean, if I feel worse tomorrow, there's a possibility I might not come into work or stream. So I'm not sure about it. It's really tempting to stay home, but I can't stream from home. So that's one of the reasons why I came in today instead of staying home. So once I got going this morning and actually got into work, I did feel a little bit better. So oh, okay, Umberto says Google's People plus AI, whatever the R stands for. Oh, okay, that was streaming too. All right, I get it now. I get it. So anyway, Umberto's said that Google has something streaming about AI right now, so saying we'll go back to that. That's cool. Actually, maybe I'll watch that while I eat my lunch, if it's still going. So thanks for that, Umberto. All right, so like I said, probably be back tomorrow. We'll see. Thanks for watching, and yeah, and thanks for getting us to over 200,000 subscribers. Really, really appreciate that. That's awesome. So until tomorrow, have a great day.